Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Tokyo on Fire. The recent candidacy for the president of the Democratic Party raised an issue of dual citizenship, which was not very much talked about, but became a huge issue for Renho. Michael, what's your view on that?
Well, my view is that citizenship is not a piece of paper. It's action, it's intent, it's your history. And in that case, Renho is fully a Japanese. Yes, she uses a very peculiar way of addressing herself, using her original Chinese name. Mm-hmm. And also, she doesn't use her husband's name, Murata, ever as a part of her self-promotion. So she presents herself as being very, very unusual and very Chinese sounding. She is, in fact, the daughter of a Taiwanese citizen. And it became a problem for the first time in her political career, which is, she's been a senator for 12 years, and is just won her third election as senator. Mm-hmm. It suddenly became a problem when she wanted to become the leader of the party, and suddenly social media was aflame with this. But she's really just a Taiwanese,
right?
And what it turned out was that there were some old Ministry of Foreign Affairs retirees who seemingly either knew about from their own contacts that she had never succeeded in renouncing her Taiwanese citizenship, or they figured out from the very strange concatenation of laws changes that happened at the time that she said that she had renounced her Taiwanese citizenship when she was a teenager, that it made it impossible for her to have actually done it. Mm-hmm. Anyway, suddenly came all these rumors. She has dual citizenship. She has been.
We have a Manchurian candidate.
We have that's right.
That's right.
Well, the Taiwanese Manchuria,
right.
That we all know so well. And Renho, who had gone with her father to the Taiwanese mission and gone through what she thought was the procedure for renouncing her Taiwanese citizenship, she was not eligible for Japanese citizenship until a law change took place in the 1980s.
Right at the time when she was going through that period, that 3-year period.
That's right. And there was a special grandfathering period. Up until the time she was a teenager, persons who were born of a marriage between a non-Japanese and a Japanese, if the father was Japanese, could become Japanese citizens, but if the mother was Japanese, could not. Mm-hmm. That was after a series of very peculiar Supreme Court cases that argued that the law is constitutional, even though it clearly is biased on the basis of sex. The government at the time actually went through and changed the law, making it possible for persons who have with parents of different countries that it doesn't matter whether it's father or mother,
right.
Both are eligible.
Finally.
And so she went and declared herself a Japanese and then went to the Taiwanese mission and thought she had rejected Taiwanese citizenship. It turned out, after an investigation, that was not the case. But she made very sure that, and made in a very public way, very, very clear that she really only wants to be seen as a Japanese. Mm-hmm. She preemptively, before the results of the investigation by the Taiwanese authorities, applied for renunciation and filed her renunciation papers before she got the results, because she said,
right.
It's possible that it's not valid. I want to indicate and show that I have never wanted to have Taiwanese citizenship. I don't have a passport. I don't have any of these things. I've never known that I had this, but just in case, I'm going to go through the procedure.
Sure. She was in a 3-way race, and so it's probably likely that of the other two, somebody came up with, we've got to throw some mud at her. What can we do where it doesn't leave any fingerprints at us, but it diminishes her? And it did diminish her, but I think, what's the big deal?
Yeah, but it brought up the entire concept of dual citizenship. And that's why we're talking about it.
And a legislator who is managing the law and should be following the law, and the law is...
You cannot have dual citizenship. Right. But it's a law with no penalties, and it's not a law that's been enforced. Mm-hmm. So it's 2 degrees away from being you broke the law
Right.
and you got to go to
But
jail.
it became a huge deal.
It became a huge deal,
distraction.
and it feeds into narratives that Japan is an exclusive society,
Yes.
that it is one that is fearful of foreigners, and even fearful of half foreigners.
Right. And that the bloodlines should stay with the father and not the mother.
And all
Right.
kinds of different issues that were suddenly reemerged from the mud which they should have stayed in.
Yes.
Now, of course, there were party differences. She was running for the head of the DP, and so there were certain members of the other parties, primarily the LDP, but more importantly, the very nationalist Nippon Ishi no Nai. I mean, the word Japan is Nippon is in their name. They got really happy about this, and you were just, when you listen to how they were talking about her being, treacherous, duplicitous, someone who is, again, a Manchurian candidate, you were just waiting for the other shoe
Yes.
to drop.
Right.
And this week, it
did.
It
That's
dropped.
right. It turns out there are others who have dual nationality and happen to be in the parliament.
That's right. That there is at least one other senator just elected who is LDP, and she's a fresh woman, I guess.
Freshman.
Yeah,
Right.
but Onodera, Kimi Onodera, who has an American father, was born in the U.S. And applied for Japanese citizenship when she confirmed her Japanese citizenship when she ran for a Senate seat in this last election. And there's it has the picture with Mr. Abe right there on her website. Very nice. She won the seat, and she's, a seated senator. And, well, I never actually, threw away my U.S. passport.
She didn't even go as far as Renho did.
Yeah, she has charitably been put in the category in the process of renouncing her U.S. citizenship. In other words, she had done nothing.
Right.
And suddenly realized she was cooked.
Listen, for the benefit of viewers, what is dual citizenship? Who recognizes dual citizenship? Why is it such a big deal here in Japan? What's the story in the United States?
Well, the thing is that even the United States has rules about dual citizenship that are just not followed. We live in a globalized world where people have multiple citizenships. And, in my own family, my sister has three, is a citizen of three countries. It just is based on birth rules, based on work
Location
rules,
of where you are.
all these things can be used and manipulated so that you have the access that a citizen has, and
the obligations sometimes too.
And the obligations as well. And if you're willing to take on the obligations, well, you should have the rights.
Right, paying taxes, being available for military service.
So these things that are, and certainly in the case of the United States, if you serve in the United States military, your path to citizenship is a direct one. It's even if you start out as a non-citizen in the service of the United States. And certainly in the case of France, service in the Foreign Legion is a pathway to French citizenship. So this idea of dual citizenship, of multiple citizenships, of when do you denounce, when do you not? In the case of Kimi Onodera, it's expensive to renounce your U.S. citizenship because the United States has special rules trying to keep people from just doing it too easily. But in this case, in the case of Japan, it's illegal to have two citizenships, and you're supposed to, if you are of a dual nationality family,
You're supposed to declare.
when you officially become an adult, you are supposed to declare and say that you renounced all other citizenships except Japan's.
Okay.
But if you don't, again, there's no penalty, and no one's going to chase after you. The Justice Department's not interested in that. And if the Justice Department's not interested in it, what's the problem?
Right. People are still flying on two passports. They use one when they go, and they land in a foreign country. They use the same passport, or they might use the other passport when they're flying out.
It doesn't. And the thing is, the officials there at the airport know about this.
Right.
They ask for both your passports, and they click you in, and they say, use this one when you go into the other country. It's not as though dual citizenship is some kind of heebie-jeebie problem, except for, of course, people who are obsessed with bloodlines and loyalty and all kinds of concepts that in a globalized world are not really relevant
Well,
anymore.
I think it's being used as a club, though. I mean, in this political environment, anything that sticks, we want to use because the fights are not about so much substance. And so you look for any hook you can hang your hat on.
Well, and it's true. In the case of Renho, you have a pretty good guess that most Japanese would not have two passports.
Right.
Because the number of persons of foreign birth in Japan is very low. It's around 2%. So it's going to be a peripheral issue. And so, you grab the club and you start bashing people. But you'll be bashing your own side is the lesson that we got this week.
Dual citizenship poses a problem for certain legislators. Should others come up, we'll report to you. Keep your eye on it.